Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. You are listening to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers, and I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. The spotlight this week goes to a former guest of the show and friend of the Hiking Radio Network, Cori Strathmeyer, or also known as Pajama Mama. Cori reached out to me recently and asked if she could share about her section hike completion of the Mason Dixon Trail in Pennsylvania. Not only did Cori and I end up talking about the Mason Dixon Trail, but we also covered topics we are both very passionate about, like joining or not joining trail organizations, evolving as a section hiker, and being creative with your hikes. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode. And if you found your way over to the podcast, I really appreciate you tuning in. And now on to my chat with Pajama Mama. All right, you guys, welcome back to the podcast. I don't know why I didn't hit the record button 15 minutes ago. I have with me today, back again, I believe this is your fourth time on the podcast. So I introduce to you all again, Cori Strathmeyer, or you may remember her trail name as Pajama Mama. So welcome back to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast.
Yay. Thank you so much. We've been talking and rambling, and it's just so great. It's
and
great
sharing stories.
to talk
and
again.
You guys, the last time Cori and I saw each other face to face was the dreaded day in Pennsylvania that last summer, when I was hell bent on working on my second Appalachian Trail completion. Cori came out with me for a couple times, a couple days of slack packing, day hiking, whatever you want to call it. People get all twisted, but
you were twisted when you fell.
Oh my God, Cori, I'll be honest with you right now, because hindsight's always 20/20. I'm very grateful you were there. I should have not hiked that day. I was in a bad mood from the get. And I'm not surprised it happened to me. I think I just needed a couple days off, and it was hot. So that's kind of my perspective of it. What do you remember of that day?
Well, if I'm honest, there was a lot of grumbling, but it was hot. It was so hot. And it was super rocky, and it just was, there was COVID stuff that we were talking about. So we were talking about kind of deep conversations, and yeah, it wasn't all laughing. Well, until you fell and you were fine and you had your teeth and it was all good.
Yeah. The first thing I said is I have all my teeth when I got up.
But she had blood all over her leg. It was just like gushing blood. We had to duct tape her shut.
Yeah, several times. But yeah, if you guys want to go back and listen to that tragic day, I don't even know what episode it is. It might be around episode 30, 31. It's my summer recap episode of what went down last summer. So prior to that, we did spend another day together, which was absolutely awesome. We did 16 something miles in Pennsylvania. I have no idea where. And we talked so much. It went by so fast. And you and your awesome husband invited me and Stephanie over for dinner. We had an awesome time. I don't know what day that was. That was before the day of tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a good time last summer, and we got some miles in. And then after that, I don't know what happened. Here we are, almost, literally, it will be almost a year later when this episode comes out.
Wow.
So
that's crazy. But fortunately, we text and talk periodically. And
Yes.
I feel like I see you every week because I listen to your podcast. So.
And recently you reached out to me and sent me an email and said, I have a podcast pitch. And I was like, all right, what's this about? What is she pitching? Of course she can come on. I don't know when, but we'll make it happen. And you've kind of been out doing your own thing as well.
Yeah.
Besides hiking on the Appalachian Trail, you are now what I'm going to call a section hike completer of the Mid-State Trail.
Mason Dixon Trail.
Oh, where did I get Mid-State Trail? Okay, never mind.
It's on my list.
Not the Mid-State Trail, the Mason Dixon Trail.
Mm-hmm.
I better make sure I write that down. I don't want to title this the Mid-State Trail. So the Mason Dixon Trail, which is how many miles?
200 miles. It starts in near Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, and ends the eastern terminus is in Chadds Ford, PA, and it goes through Maryland and Delaware.
So what made you decide, all right, I'm going to section hike this bad boy and put some miles in? And I imagine, since it is Pennsylvania, it's rocky, and all that wonderful stuff that comes with the trails in the state of Pennsylvania. So describe to us the trail and what made you want to do that.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but there was this pandemic last year and, and we weren't really allowed to go anywhere and we weren't supposed to be on the AT and all that stuff. So I think it was maybe 2017. I hiked this little section. It's pretty well known in where I live, called Otter Creek, and it's part of the Mason Dixon Trail. And I had bought the maps back at that time. And I was so excited. And when I got them, I realized there was road walking. Well, I hike with my dogs, Faith and Toro. So I put them away. And early in June, I was hiking through Pinchot State Park. Gifford Pinchot is kind of my stomping grounds. And as I was hiking, all of a sudden I see the sky blue blazes. And I was like, hold on, I'm going to pull out those maps. And I did. And I just started hiking a little bit every day. So this was also quite different from a lot of my other section hikes, because since I wasn't too far, I did a lot of out and back 5 to 8 mile hikes. So it would be only maybe 2.5 to 4 miles of the trail, but I was doing it a little bit every day, and updated the maps, bought new ones, and decided, all right, we're going to do this. But the Mason Dixon is considered a trail system. And okay. I think it's fascinating because when you talk about the Mountains to Sea Trail, I'm just really interested about how these trail systems work, as opposed to, so the Appalachian Trail was a trail that was, created, and sure, it goes through towns and so forth, but it's still really one trail. But when I'm hiking out west and we're bushwhacking, there's no trail. We're just fine. I want to go up to that peak, and that's where I go.
Right.
So it's a connector of a whole bunch of trails going through state parks, county parks, boat marinas, roads, and so forth. So,
and that's so cool. It's so different.
It's very different. It's very, very different. And, there were some things right off the bat that I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I'm not going to quit doing it. I'm still going to do it.
Did you find that was a draw? Because I'll parallel that, like you did, to the Mountains to Sea Trail. Everything that was so different and unique, that drew me in even more.
Yeah, it's not like hiking the AT through Pennsylvania. I will throw out here the trail that I'm hiking now is the Tuscarora Trail, and it parallels the AT. And I've dubbed it the AT's Wild Child because there's just not a lot of people, and it's gnarly, and I am loving it.
That's
But
cool. I love that.
yeah, we're about halfway finished that. Well, by the time this comes out, hopefully we'll be further than that. But yeah, the Mason Dixon, I just was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm working from home. I might as well do something local. And
so what was your strategy? Did you go out on the weekends? Did you like map it all out and do all your mileage and have all these Excel spreadsheets? If you guys remember I remember the episode number 9. I mean, Cori has a spreadsheet for a spreadsheet. So
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
so you mapped it all out and you knew what you were going to do kind of thing?
Not really in that. So at first I knew I needed to do out and back because I was doing it a lot during the week and Brian was working and I was still working, but I, get off, like just stop working around 4. I could be to a section, within a half hour, 45 minutes. And then I would just do out and back. And I just, the one thing I kept consistent is I started in the West and I walked to the East. So I kept that, but I didn't really chunk it out. There is no app for this. So it's paper maps. And so really what dictated was, looking at the paper map, where can I park? And what can I do what can I do without worrying about a ride or anything like that? And especially on the very beginning was just a lot of road walking. So it breaks out, it's 10 maps. And the first 2 maps, it's a lot of road. And the last 2 maps have quite a bit of road. But so that I just chunked off all that stuff. So I would look at it and, all right, I'm cutting through Pinchot Park. I'll take the dogs. Now I'm going to be out on maybe 10 miles of road walking, no dogs. And then once we got to where I'd say was just like super fun portion was once the trail got to the Susquehanna River. And that's about 65 miles of trail along the river.
Nice.
Of some sort, and some of it was just like stone river road where there's no cars, but it's, like some people that have cabins can get there too, going up and doing the rocky stuff and doing climbing over some boulders and things. Super fun into Maryland. That was great. And then, wrapping up we went through Delaware and ended near the Brandywine River in Chadds Ford, so close to Philadelphia. A lot of historic stuff, very different. And then, the road walking is okay. We're walking past a Quaker meeting house, and then, oh my gosh, all of a sudden we have to worry about all this traffic because there's this major Route 40 kind of thing. But yeah.
Okay, so when you were tackling those road sections, because the Mountains of Sea Trail has stuff like that too. I mean, you're on like major thoroughfares.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's almost like it's a challenge in and of itself. And any time I've asked anybody that has hiked trails that have road portions, it is a mental battle where you just have to say, hey, this is a challenge in and of itself. And this is part of the trail. Is that kind of what you did, or what was your thought process?
Definitely. Well, let me start with this. I don't even know if I've ever told you this. I was hit by a car.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that like kind of bad health year? So it's kind of funny. Let me totally derail our conversation.
Okay. All right. Everyone pause. We're going to go into
a little side story.
How in the world did Cori get hit by a car? Oh my God.
Well, it's pretty funny because it's not funny, but it's funny. At the time, I was leading a transportation task force within our city, doing a lot of policy systems and environmental changes, all the public health stuff, to get people to share the road so that we have multimodal roads where bikes can ride, there's safe crosswalks, the emergency vehicles, all that stuff. So I'd had a meeting at City Hall. I left and I had another meeting there, and I left, grabbed a coffee, and went back, and I'm right in front of City Hall in the crosswalk, exactly the where I'm supposed to be at the right time. And somebody turned right on red, didn't look. And I went up over the car, like boom, up and
Oh
over.
my God.
Yeah. And I was going back to City Hall to meet with the mayor and talk about with some other people about playgrounds, because I still am very involved in park renovations. Anyhow, I was fine, but it was a platform. I was in physical therapy for a bit, but it was a platform for me, because the next week was walk to school week, where I'm going to all these schools and we're doing assemblies.
I wouldn't want to walk on the road anywhere.
So the reason I'm bringing that up is, I realized on a public health standard that there is a population of drivers that feel that bikes and pedestrians aren't allowed on the road. It's my road, I'm in the car. And then, there's a population of pedestrians that are like, I'm allowed on here. I'll cross wherever I want to and not even, obey traffic and so forth. So, there's these two sides. And as I was road walking,
okay, are we back? We're back over. Okay, we're back.
Yeah,
okay,
but as I was road walking, and especially remember, I was doing it by myself because Brian and no dogs. And some of these roads, there's no berm. It's just like this road, and you're going through curvy stuff. So, what do? Do I walk against traffic? Do I go on the other side? Then the car might. So I started walking down the middle of the road, and I don't wear headphones when I hike, which is safe. And then I'm just like, would listen for the car. And then when I'd hear and constantly look, I'd jump whichever direction I needed to go. But definitely as I got into some of the bigger traffic areas, I definitely got more comfortable, but there was, I don't want to call it road rage, but there was definitely some, one guy pulled over and rolled down his window, and I don't know, I heard a lot of
calls and stuff like that, because I've heard that too. Yeah,
no,
I mean, people going by. No,
this was not love.
This was
there was a lot of F-bombs in there.
Not good.
It was not good. But
hey, you know what though? That's just part of the challenge.
It is.
And you probably learned as well as I have. And I mean, I have a lot of road walking to go on the Mountains of Sea Trail.
Yeah.
A safety vest. Got to have a safety vest. And I've learned, from some other hikers, what they've done on the road, and specifically on the Mountains of Sea Trail, some section hike completers. They would take orange bandanas and tie them on the end of their hiking poles. And when they saw a car, kind of wave it. I guess there's different strategies. I have not done that one, but that one seems to be a thing. And, just be as safe as possible. But that is all part of the challenge. So
I wave. Wave and I start waving, like, to be sort of friendly, but also, hey, do you see me? I do wear brighter clothes as well. But with this trail, there was one highway I couldn't cross, Route 15. I planned it because this is one that I did plan, because I was really concerned about, I don't know how, because it's fairly close to us here. And I'm thinking, I don't know how you get across it. And I never did. I stood for over 20 minutes. But I planned that Brian was going to be coming down. Anyway, he basically drove me across. Well, he couldn't even drive across. We had to drive down and turn around. But on this trail, there's a place where you're not even allowed to have pedestrian. There's a big bridge in Havre de Grace. So for anyone who would through hike this, there would have to be a plan you're not even allowed to walk on the bridge. But definitely the comfort level was better, but you still need to be vigilant, and you cannot, I'm not trying to scare people, but just make you be aware.
You just want to give them the reality of the situation.
You can't trust that someone in a car sees you and that they even really care. And, cell phones, I can't tell you how many people I'm walking and I'm thinking that person's looking at their phone. They aren't looking at the road at all. Yeah. So, but you can easily skip that stuff if that's not your thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take my dogs except on like the little real back country roads. But
Well, it
fortunately,
sounds
it's
like
not
to me
all
you
road work.
conquered it, right? You
Well,
got it
yeah.
done.
Yeah. It
So,
was great.
when did you start it and when did you finish?
I started in June, early June, and
And
we
that's of
finished
2020, right?
2020, and then we finished December 13th, but not because it was this huge, 200-mile kind of thing. It was just that, like I said, early on, I was doing really light miles, and we didn't get super serious about it until I'd say Halloween. And then Halloween, we did like a 21-mile day, and then we started doing more like 10, 15. We did a couple other 20-mile days. So you could really break it down, and you could backpack it if you wanted. There's enough, it goes through enough state parks and campgrounds and stuff. And even some county parks have, one county park has a shelter even. So, if somebody really wanted to backpack it, if I was doing it more seriously, again, last year, just different.
That is serious. I mean, you did it and you finished.
Well, yes. But I mean, compared to what you brought up, spreadsheets and planning,
Okay. Okay, that's what you mean by serious.
like if I wanted to, anybody could, knock that out faster. You could do, the backpacking and do long weekends and stuff. It was close to, like, it was close to home. It was a totally different, we stayed, my youngest son lives near Chad's Ford. So we were honored to be able to stay with him and his wife. And he hiked with us on the very last day. And, but for us, it was so close that we could do, drive 2 hours, chunk off, drive home.
And make it happen. So you and I have had conversations about how we have over the last, I don't know, since last summer into the fall of 2020, certainly kind of veered our mindsets away from, and especially me, away from the Appalachian Trail. I mean, here we are in the summer and I'm not out on the Appalachian Trail. And I think I talked to you about this last week on the phone or the week before. I had this battle in my mind. Okay, so I've completed the trail once and I'm about 600 miles shy of completing it again, and I don't care. And I know that that's probably strange and weird. And I really had to contemplate in my mind, am I doing this so I can say, oh, I've completed the Appalachian Trail twice? Or am I doing this because I really want to do it? And what I found is I just don't want to do it. I don't want to, there's so much stuff out there and my heart is starting to be guided to other places. It's not that I don't love the Appalachian Trail anymore. And it's not that you don't love, going out and section hiking the Appalachian Trail, but there's so many more trails. There's so much love to be had. And the reason I'm veering this conversation over is because I have a desire to be more involved with the Mountains of Sea Trail and actually, get involved deeply in that community. And you also have that as well, becoming and getting more deeply involved. And I think we were just talking before we got on here, we're evolving as hikers. We still want to hike, but what I hiked 16 years ago is not my mindset now. I want to be more involved in community. Maybe I want to be on the board of an organization. And you were just saying that as well. Like that is kind of where you're being guided. So that was a really long way for me to ask you to talk about kind of your mindset and, being a hiker and pounding miles on the AT to venturing out to other trails and becoming part of other organizations.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still goal oriented as far as I would like to finish the AT, and I'm sure.
Of course, yes.
This year we're gonna try and get back on, or we plan to anyway. But if there's a blessing from COVID, I have really started to look in my own state, and I think there's a lot of people. You look at you with North Carolina, and I'm hearing this from a lot of people that they're hiking locally and. As I already mentioned, so this is the Mason Dixon, and then we did the We're hiking the Tuscarora, and then I want to do the Mid-State Trail. Never would have
And I do
thought.
apologize about
No,
that. I
it's
knew it
not
was the
big.
Mason Dixon Trail.
Yeah,
I knew.
it's all good. I say the wrong thing. Yeah, it's no big deal, but there's a whole lot in my area, and then as I am hiking these other trails or even researching them, I'm learning about where I even live and some of the history and some of the culture. Like, you know, I'm not learning that on the AT, and maybe that's shame on me, but you know, I'm on the AT to get from A to B and enjoy the journey in between. I'll tie this into Mason Dixon. There's some pretty cool history, and you know, York, this goes through York County, and I've lived here most of my life, and there's stuff I had no idea, and it's fascinating. And I'll say, so I'm learning more about my community, and then it comes to, or you know, my greater community, my state. But then, as you mentioned, I've started, because of hiking these different trails, I'm joining all these trail clubs. You know, if there's a trail club, I'm gonna pay the membership, buy some maps, maybe throw in some extra money. And I was doing that with a lot of, and I still am with a lot of the AT clubs, but you know, I'm feeling more like I want to get involved in them, and I'd like to get on a board of them. And I already mentioned about the playground process, so I'm already I've already been involved in starting a park conservancy in my own community, helping to do that. And
I love that so much. I just love that.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. As much as I love getting out there, I'll tell you something I didn't mention to you before, but here's something else that has happened to me when I'm hiking. When I am out there, I'm writing in my head, and then I'm putting it into, sometimes I put it into notes, but sometimes I'm writing this story, a blog, whether it goes on my blog site, or frankly, I've been doing guest blogging for other people, which has really cut back on my own site. But like, that never was part of why I was hiking before. And, you know, so some of my blogs are very intentional to share a story, a message, not just, you know, oh, I saw these flowers, and which is great. It's just
Right.
It's just how things have changed for me.
And you mentioned joining organizations, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. People can get mad at me if they want to. I've got thick skin. I could take it. It shocks me when I ask people if they belong to trail organizations, because they absorb a lot of the trail in various ways, like I do, whether you're hiking, you know, absorbing the communities, and they tell me no. I find that I don't know why I'm shocked. And I'm like, how could you draw so much from this trail? At least become a $35 member. I mean, that's minimally what people could do.
Is it that people, you know, I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. My whole adult career, I'm in nonprofit. I work in nonprofit. I'm on nonprofit boards. So
maybe you have better insight than I do.
I'm just always aware of those kinds of things. Like, I know someone had to have cleared that path. Someone cleared that path, and it wasn't me. So that means, and you know, if we're talking about the Mason Dixon Trail, it's a small group of volunteers that's doing that. And they're probably pulling money out of their own pockets to buy the equipment to do those things and to put together their little website and so forth. And, you know, I hike, and I'm not spending money on a lot of other types of things. So I would rather spend my money and give it to nonprofits and organizations that help to continue their work. I really want to get involved in doing some trail maintenance. The Tuscarora Trails Club is huge, and I'm so excited. So they maintain some of Shenandoah's trails, some nice. Of the AT that goes through Northern Virginia and Maryland and into PA, and the Tuscarora. And I just haven't had my new member orientation yet. That's how big they are. They have a new member orientation.
Oh my God. When I joined the Mountains of Sea Trail, I am never going to forget this. A guy called me, his name's Les Love. And I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, what is happening? We talked for an hour. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah. And I would love to, I'm going to put a call out to everybody right now. Reach out to me, send me an email. I want to talk to people about their growth on trails.
Yeah.
Where they started, kind of like you and I are talking, you started as a hiker and you wanted to complete that trail. And where are you now? Are you, giving back? Are you part of the organization? Like, I want a hiker who's hiked a trail and now you're on the board, or, you're leading a trail group, or you built trail that didn't exist or something like that. So reach out to me. I want to have you on the show. Any trail.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Would that not be awesome?
Awesome episode. Yeah. Because, if people aren't aware of, like, maybe never even thought to, like, let's be honest, a lot of people who hike, they are using gut hook or the mountains to see, what is
the MST guide?
In the palm of your hand.
Follow the line in the palm of your hand.
I love it.
Yes.
It's very clever. But yeah, so when it comes to getting involved with the trail clubs, they kind of don't have to. They don't have to buy the maps, paper maps. They don't have to reach out to these groups. So you might not be aware. So maybe that's just a good awareness and a big call to action that, donate $25.
Yeah. And then, on the other end, okay, so I'll even invite the people on the other end because I want to know why you don't join organizations, or you don't want to get involved, but you love hiking on a particular trail. I'll even take it both sides.
Yeah.
Nobody may reach out to me at all, or they might say it's summer and Jester has lost her mind. But I would love to have anybody on that has had major growth on a trail. And now you're involved in the community, you're leading a trail maintenance group. You've learned to be a sawyer. You're an executive director, whatever. Or you're anti-joining the organization, because I would like to have a conversation and find out why. I mean,
yeah, I think that's a great conversation. I
don't know if anybody's going to reach out to me.
Oh, you'll get people.
Maybe like you said, we'll have a panel.
Yeah, have a panel of people.
I know. Okay, I'm going to go off on another. I don't know what's happening to this episode, but I'm going to go ahead and clear the air too, because I had somebody say something to me the other day. Oh, well, maybe you'll have to through hike a trail one day. And I said, okay. Just because I don't talk about it doesn't mean I haven't through hiked trails. So I have through hiked trails all in one go. So I do know. The things that people say to me, it's unbelievable, but I love you. I love every one of you. Keep it coming.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say about through hiking, because that was something that I was really on my list. And Brian, I know you've had this conversation.
Oh, that's a great conversation to have too.
That he's like, there's no way I'm not doing that.
And Brian is her husband, by the way.
Oh, sorry,
so
yeah.
If we failed to mention that.
It's road trip. So he wants a van, actually I want the van, but he likes to do the let's backpack 3 days, get off the trail, get some good food, get back on kind of thing. He has no desire. And it's kind of funny because with last year, with doing these more local, I'm thinking about like the Mid-State Trail. I was researching, like, how do I through hike that? How can I make that work? Or can I at least break it into 2 big chunks and take some vacation time without?
Well, let me ask you this. Do you really want to through hike it?
I am not sure anymore. That's kind of where I'm going. Like, I'm thinking I want to do it within my vacation time. I don't know that I want to take at this point. I don't know that I want to take, a leave of absence from my job. And do you know, though, there is another very, very big, important reason for me not through hiking. And that is I have 3 amazing little grandchildren. For me to disappear for 4 or 5 months, I'm used to being very involved.
Listen, ever since I had Mary Davison on the show, the Triple Crown
Yeah.
section
She's
hiker who started
incredible,
at
though.
60. I have no bones about saying, I don't want to through hike long distance trail. Okay, when I say I've through hike trails, I've done the Wonderland Trail. I've done some stuff out in Zion and Utah, the Long Trail, Art Loeb Trail, Foothills Trail. I mean, these are trails that are Foothills Trail's like 78 miles. Wonderland Trail's 100. So I guess people might be asking me about the long distance trails. Have you through hiked long? Because I still don't rate. So no matter what I say to some people, I still don't rate. And what I don't rate as a section hiker, and I don't care. So getting back to that with you, do you really want to?
Right now,
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, no, because I want to do my backpack weekends, but I want to be home when, like, my little grandchildren were at my house this morning. They live in the next city over, and they came here to do their nap.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Here I am. I'm pinging all over the place. I don't know what's wrong with me. Mary Davison was like, I have a life and I like my life. And she was a pastor for like 15 years, and she had a system, and she section hiked in the fall, and then she did another big hike in the spring, and it's okay.
But isn't that the point of honestly you having this amazing podcast? And it's that there was not, like, everything was always about through hikers. And honestly, through hikers are amazing. They really are. They've been able to, they've made that choice to walk away from their life, and they've made big sacrifices. I don't think my problem is at all the physicality of finishing it. Like, it's not that. I know I can be sweaty and stinky, and that's not
fun.
it at all.
I like not taking showers and stuff, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that. It's, for me, it's stepping away from, honestly, my family for too long. And I don't know that Brian would, and here's the other thing. I don't know that Brian would do it. And, we've been married 30 some years, and we hike together. And I don't know, that'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of weird. So I feel like maybe.
Well, here's the other thing too, Cori. I think when I started this 16, 17 years ago now, that's what I thought everybody did. I thought you had to through hike the trail. That was the only way. And that's all I ever thought of it. There's so many ways, and there's so many trails, and there's so many avenues, and accessibility, and through hiking is one avenue. Section hiking is one avenue. You can day hike an entire trail. That is another avenue, and people are out there doing it. And I think it's awesome. And I think it's awesome that there is flexibility to change your mind on something. I think I told you the other day that I was up in the Shenandoahs, and I had hiked with Wheezy P, and we had a great day. And the very next day I was like, I don't want to be here. So we got the van, and we turned around, and we left, and it was awesome. But that was the first time I'd ever done that. When I had set my mind on something, I'm going to take my spring break, and I'm going to hike this many miles, and I'm going to do this trail. And it was on the Appalachian Trail in the Shenandoahs. And I was like, something's happened. I don't want to be here. And I had the most sense of freedom I have felt in like 16 years. It was awesome.
But you then went and you hiked
on the Mountains of Sea Trail in Western North Carolina. And I don't know what happened.
You were ready for a change.
Got back down to North Carolina, and I don't know, felt right at home. And instead of fighting it, I'm going with it. So,
and I think with what you just said, there's also this flexibility to be even creative with it. And,
I love that. Oh my God, I love that so much.
And I'm still very goal oriented, and I still want to do high miles. I love getting out there in the morning and then hike, pumping out 18, 20 miles.
She really is an animal on the trail, people. I mean, she is an animal.
I love it. And, It's it's great.
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
I enjoy that. But I do like the reason I'm doing that is not. Yes, I'm not gonna. I would like to complete right now, like the Tuscarora. I wanted to complete the Mason Dixon.
Okay, now all this talking we're doing does not mean we are not completists.
Right. But it has changed. It's not just the one trail. And for me, it's just always like for a bunch of years, it's the AT, or I'm bushwhacking in Colorado, because that's where we've spent many. We used to have a house out there, so 20 years of bushwhacking, starting on a trail. Hey, I see snow, let's climb that peak, kind of thing. Extremely different. There are so many trails. There's so much. And
it's
so
awesome.
I don't think I would, after I finish the AT, I don't think I would repeat it. Unless I did decide, in 5 or 10 years or something, I'm going to through hike it, then it would be a different experience.
Right.
And I would do it differently. I would totally do it differently. I wouldn't go, northbound. But, one of the things, I guess we're supposed to be talking about the Mason Dixon
I know.
Trail. Well, let me say this about the Mason Dixon Trail, because
all right, people, keep up. We're going back to the Mason Dixon Trail.
It is what was so cool about it for me is I like those boulders. I like the Pennsylvania rocks. This was a lot of water, so a lot of walking along Susquehanna River, a lot of cool creeks that, because you're close to the water, we passed the mouth of the top of the Chesapeake Bay, and so there's all these water sources, which was really cool. There's some rocky stuff, but not a lot. But going through all these different little state parks and marinas, and just was quite enjoyable. But there's no, I mentioned there was no app. They have an app, but there's only 2 sections on the app, and I couldn't understand the app. Sorry, Mason Dixon people. So what I did.
Hey, listen, but you're already helping them because of what you're getting ready to say that you've done.
Yeah. So here's where I am still, maybe not Excel spreadsheet, but what I've been doing, I've been using the All Trails app, the Pro, for a bunch of years. So I've been recording. I recorded all of my hikes, and then I put them into maps, and I broke it out to coordinate with their paper maps. And then I went into the maps and I added the parking, and then I've created on my blog site, pages about all the maps, so that hopefully some people who are interested in doing certain sections, what have you, can go into All Trails, download it into their app, which I think you could do on the free version, is download somebody else's map, and then you can follow it. And I have used my own maps, and it's super cool. Like,
that is awesome. Okay, so tell people, do they access that on your website, or give people information like, where do you want them to come find you, and where do they access that stuff?
Well, would you put in the show notes my blog site, and it's just under trail maps at the top, and we can even just put that directly in, because my blog site isn't all about hiking.
And your blog is
the space between blog.
Yeah, the spacebetweenblog.com. It will be in the show notes, and then they will have access to the maps and whatever they need to do with the maps, which is awesome. And we are 42 minutes into this episode, and we have been sidetracked, derailed
big time,
and have talked about some awesome stuff.
But people reach out to me if they're interested in anything about the Mason Dixon.
You're on Instagram.
Yeah.
The space between blog. I think it's the_space_between_blog. I mean, that's long.
It's way too long.
You can find
the space between, or all the hyphens, right? Somebody already took the other one and they stole it. Yeah.
So let's wrap up here. So you had an awesome time section hiking the Mason Dixon Trail. You are now out putting miles in section hiking, the Tuscarora Trail. The Mid-State Trail is on your list. And we have put what I'm going to call a call to action. I am looking for people who are going to come on and have a chat with me in the fall, who have been out hiking particular trails. They're now involved in the community. They're on the board. They lead a trail club. They've built trail, whatever. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your story of progression. And then the second call to action is for those that hike and they don't join the organizations. You don't want anything to do with it. It's okay. I just want to find out why. I want to know what's happening, what's going on, thought processes. And the Cori, do you have a call for action, or was that good? We have two.
I think being creative with your hiking.
Yes.
I was creative with the Mason Dixon. I tied it into the AT and made it all but a 300-mile trail. So looking at some other trails and connecting them and making it up yourself is being creative too.
Yeah. And maybe we need to have an episode with road walkers, section hiker road walkers, and your tactics and how you take that on. And
you know what I would like to know? When somebody's road walking and it's a long distance, how do we deal with the bathroom?
Oh, yeah.
The bio breaks. Challenging. Yeah. You're in the woods. You can, but you're in the country.
All right. So we have 3 or 4 call to actions out there. But no, seriously, reach out to me, jester@jestersectionhiker.com. That's my email. I'm looking for people to come on in the fall and chat trail. And Cori, I think it's a good time. First of all, thank you very much. You're welcome back anytime you want. I have no clue what we're going to talk about next time.
Tuscarora.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
and then we'll end up talking about something totally different.
Thank you, everyone, for enduring us. Cori, I know you may have something to read or sign us off with. So whenever you're ready, you go for it.
I just have a short quote, actually, from an author named Kekla Magoon. She's a young adult author. And because this Mason Dixon was really so much water and creeks and stuff, I thought this was kind of a cool quote that, and you know what? It fits in with our sidetrack. So here's the quote. "The river moves, but it follows a path. When it tires of one journey, it rubs through some rock to forge a new way. Hard work, but that's its nature." So when we're changing, maybe it doesn't have to be the same. When it tires of one journey, so find a new journey. Doesn't mean you have to stop the journey. Or maybe some people might want to just move on to something else. Maybe that's where they become involved in trail clubs and they're volunteering. But you just got to figure out what's your journey.
I love it. All right, Cori, thank you. And people reach out to me. I'm serious. Thanks.
See ya.
Well, I'm not sure how we ended up chatting about so much, but it really felt like we were hanging out at a campfire or walking and talking on the trail. I am sure you can all relate to having conversations out on the trail that seem to cover a lot of topics, but at the end of the day, you feel great, you got your miles hiked, and vow never to repeat what you talked about on the trail with another soul. And somebody will inevitably say, what happens on the trail stays on the trail. If you continue to like what we do here at the network, please consider a donation to your favorite show, leave us a review, or send us an audio message over on our website at hikingradionetwork.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you right back here next Saturday, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river wandering with you. What kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into? Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way. If you ever get lost, or if the trail leads you astray, the music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.